WL Sports, where we review all the best sports takes from around the country. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly special. I honestly see this community just as much as yours as it is mine. And I really want to continue to build something that we can all be proud to be part of. So please definitely consider subscribing. And for the record, I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is absurd, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is amazing, then also let me know in the comments below. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps with the visibility, and it really helps with the algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get right to it right now with a clip from Speak, with Emmanuel Acho and McCoy and the rest of them. And they're talking about how would Josh Allen's status change if they don't make the playoffs. Now, I just want to share my opinion real fast before we get to hear all of theirs. My quick, short opinion is nothing should change because Josh Allen has a tough team with a tough coach in a tough city, okay? That is the reality. Patrick Mahomes would struggle just as much if he was given everything Josh Allen was given. Tom Brady would struggle just as much if he was given what Josh Allen has been given. It's just not fair, I mean, so the comparisons, Josh Allen has been dealt not a great hand. I think he's done the best what he's been given. He's not really been given, an amazing offensive line with an elite, offensive weapons with running backs and, wide receivers. I mean, I know they have Diggs and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, that's been productive, but you can't just have this one person, right? What made Mahomes and the Chiefs so special was when they had Tyreek Hill and, Travis Kelce, and then I know you're probably going to be like, well, what about last year? They didn't have Tyreek Hill. Yeah, but they had Travis Kelce, who was still pretty much playing at a prime level, who's essentially considered to be the greatest tight end ever, along with Andy Reid, who's considered to be one of the greatest offensive head coaches ever, and they had a Juju Smith-Schuster who was balling out that season. So those are all things that really matter. He has not really been given an elite offensive head coach, which is super important. He hasn't been given all these elite offensive weapons. So I just think his lack of success is just not that fair because they put so much weight on his shoulders and he can do so much. He is their run game. He has 15 rushing touchdowns this season. That's wild. That's tied with Jalen Hurts for the most, and Jalen Hurts gets it through, the brotherly shove, tush push thing. That's not how Josh Allen is getting it. Josh Allen is getting it a much harder way. So I just don't think it's fair to have, his status change because better believe, no question, if Josh Allen had Andy Reid as his head coach or was playing on the Chiefs with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, you really, honestly, if you're not biased, you really believe that he wouldn't have had more success? You really, from the bottom of your heart, really believe, nope, they wouldn't be as good. No, he wouldn't have won any Super Bowls if he was playing with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. That's just being disingenuous. It just is. So I just don't think it would be necessarily fair. I think if anything, what he's been doing this season with a coach who's been a disaster, he's not a great offensive head coach. Obviously, he's a defensive coach. He's had this weird scandal about making weird comments about, the September 11th, terrorists and using them as a positive example, just weird stuff. And for the most part, Josh Allen and the Bills have been able to overcome it. And, that's a tall task. It really is.
There is a world where Josh Allen misses the playoffs. James Jones, what does that do for your opinion of him with the Bills?
It changes, just like it changed yesterday. It changes because right now when we talk Josh Allen, we say Patty, Josh, Burrow, right? Whoever you want out of those two is the second one, right? But it go Patty and then it go them two. So if he does not make the playoff, my opinion changes because if Lamar Jackson or Tua or Dak Prescott goes into the playoffs and makes a deep run or gets to the Super Bowl or Lamar wins a Super Bowl, there's no way that I can keep putting Josh Allen in front of him, even though I may think he got a little bit more talent than him at the quarterback spot. I cannot keep doing that. So for me...
But all those teams have better players. Think about it. The Bills are in such a crazy situation where if they just win this one game, they get the 2 seed. And if they lose, they might not even be in the playoffs at all. So, that could be massive. And so that just shows you that the margin of error for the Bills is just different than from these other teams in these other, playoff situations. Because if he wins this game, then they could be the number 2 seed, which would then put him ahead of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's obviously better than them, so it's just one of those things where you just can't lose sight of that. You have to acknowledge that the Bills are constantly, and again, this isn't to say that Josh Allen is not at fault for any of the issues that the Bills have, right? I've said that and I agree with what Tom Brady said, where Josh Allen needs to learn to just check it down, throw it away, I believe that. I think Josh Allen has definitely, with some of his play, have lost games. But that's also because the Bills are putting so much on him. They're just constantly saying, win this game for us, win this game for us, win this game for us. And when he had Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator, his interceptions were down. They weren't trying to make him be the superhero every 5 seconds, and he was significantly better. I think it was like his best season ever. That's what a good offensive mind has. Make no mistake about it. Patrick Mahomes is brilliant, a genius, amazing, so good. He is successful. A big part of his success is also because of Andy Reid's brilliance. And he knows it. He's admitted it, and it's honest and genuine. So if you want to say what I'm saying is crazy, well, then you're saying what Patrick Mahomes is saying is crazy. Because believe me, he said it so many times and knows it. And when they went to the Super Bowl that one year, he's like, we want to win for Andy. I mean, they just love him. And Patrick Mahomes is no dummy. So he knows how important Andy Reid is. Just the conversation with him, right? Even if you don't even want to say, his scheme or his play calling or the genius, or if you don't think he's genius, fine. I'll accept that. I mean, I disagree, but we can accept it for the sake of argument. But just being able to have him to be able to talk to, especially if you remember earlier in Patrick Mahomes' career, Andy Reid is, and I'm not sure if he still does this now, I haven't looked closely recently, but Andy Reid was always on the bench sitting butt to butt with Patrick Mahomes. That is invaluable. That is invaluable. You're having a Hall of Fame, brilliant offensive head coach holding your hand while you're developing into a player, while you're developing into an NFL player. That really matters. Please let me know when Josh Allen had that for an extended period of time. He hasn't. So,
It changes because we can't keep labeling you as a number 3 quarterback and a super talent in this league, and you're not even in the playoffs, and you lost to Tua to get there and had a chance to get there. So my opinion definitely will change because he's that type quarterback to me. He's that elite quarterback. We talk quarterbacks to where you putting them in all these different categories. Josh is up there with the best ones. And if you do not make the playoffs and the ball is in your hand every single play, my opinion changes because if those other quarterbacks that are not up there with you right now makes it further than you, they're going to have to be put up in there before you when you start talking about elite quarterbacks. And we all know when you talk about quarterbacks, you go to the playoff numbers, the playoff wins, whatever it may be. They're still doing that with Aaron Rodgers. So my opinion absolutely will change if he does not get his team into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it has to adjust. I wouldn't think he's any less of a talent.
Not at all.
I wouldn't think his highs are any lower. But his lows would have officially affected their ability to win at the highest level because his poor play early in the season is what put them in this position. Now, look, there's some injuries here and there, and look, you could go to any team and pick that apart and say that this played a part in it, and it would have. But he's the guy. He gets paid to be the guy. He gets talked about as the guy. He's the leader of that team. They go as he goes. And when he goes bad, they go bad. We know that. But he's always been able to overcome that. we can't say that if these lows affected their ability to make the postseason. And look, they could play a great game against the Dolphins this weekend, and the Dolphins could play a great game, and they end up losing. But what happened during the regular season would have affected them and put them in this position. Would they be in this position if that game at the beginning of the year with the Jets didn't happen?
Okay, but that's also not fair because this is also the way how the division has unfolded, that the Dolphins are a good team this year, or that they had a very weak schedule, so they were able to get a lot of wins. The Chiefs could easily be in this situation. If the Chargers were a competent organization and so were the Broncos, the Chiefs would not be winning their division, and they would be fighting over a wild card spot. It just so happens that there was a whole series of injuries, right? You had Cincinnati Bengals get injured. You have, the Russell Wilson and Peyton has been a disaster. And obviously Justin Herbert getting injured. And also they have had a terrible head coach for, the last few seasons now. But Patrick Mahomes has been blessed right now with a terrible division. No different than, Tom Brady's success. A big part of Tom Brady's success is that for literally 2 decades, the Bills were god awful. The Dolphins, god awful. The Jets, god awful. Well, that really helps your ability to not only rack up wins, which then gives you a higher seed, but obviously also, get the division. And so that's what happened with the Chiefs. The Chiefs by no measure are playing that good, and they easily could be in a situation where they're fighting to not only make the playoffs as well. And so that's what's not fair. Why does Patrick Mahomes get a pass, but Josh Allen doesn't? Because it's just this year, if Russell Wilson was actually played much better, or, then boom, they win the division. And now, if Cincinnati Bengals didn't have, Joe Burrow didn't get hurt, and if, Justin Herbert was also, healthy and actually had a legitimate, competent head coach, and the Chargers were a competent organization and, actually built a good team around an elite quarterback like Justin Herbert, that would make Patrick Mahomes' job much more difficult, wouldn't be guaranteed wins against those teams, and there's a good chance would not be in the playoffs this year based off of how the Chiefs have been playing, losing to the Raiders. So it's just not fair to hold, Josh Allen to that standard. And now you can make the argument, well, hey, Patrick Mahomes has won the Super Bowl, this, that, and third. All totally true. And so that's why, you can give someone a pass when they've already had, this success. And Josh Allen hasn't had that success. But again, that just brings me back to my earlier argument, is that Patrick Mahomes was dealt a significantly better hand. No ifs, ands, or buts. Patrick Mahomes was dealt pocket aces, okay? And Josh Allen was dealt pocket jacks, pocket tens, which are really dangerous cards. If for any of you guys who have played poker, those are dangerous cards because they're very hard to fold. So you have pocket tens, pocket jacks, and the flop comes up, king 4 7, and you're like, I got pocket jacks, and it's hard to accept that there's a great chance around the table that someone has a king, and so you're probably going to have to fold. It's a very difficult hand because you're just no, I got pocket tens, and why couldn't there be another 10 on the flop? What the heck? Or why couldn't the flop be 8 6 3 or whatever? And it's come on. And it's not that. That is what Josh Allen has been dealt. So I just think it's a significantly harder situation for him. And I think if we want to be smart fans, and that's what I really hope through this channel to build, is looking beyond the lazy narratives, looking beyond just the numbers, really trying to go beyond and in depth and get lost in the weeds of this and really just have, a more intelligent conversation and kind of cut through some of the tribalism of me good, you bad, right? Because that's, that could be fun too in sports. Don't get me wrong, right? Like me being a Philly fan and Eagles and just hating the Cowboys for no reason at all, right? That's also fun too. But when we're breaking down this type of stuff, it's let's strive to look at it as intelligently as we possibly can.
If they won that game,
No.
their record would be different. They'd be in a different position in the in the division, in the conference. So every game during the regular season matters. What you do during the regular season positions you for the postseason. That's why we talk about it every day. That's why how they're playing matters, is what the position that you're in. Are you winning the division? Are you at the top of the conference? It's all important. And to even be talking about the Bills where they're in a situation that they have to win this game to ensure that they get into the postseason, and you're talking about Josh Allen as the leader of that team, that just sounds crazy. So them actually missing the playoffs because of it, you'd have to consider that when you're talking about what he's capable of. It doesn't mean that his highs aren't high, but his lows can actually affect you so deeply as an organization that you don't make the postseason.
That's really good. Really good.
Answer the question.
Would your opinion of Josh Allen change if the Bills missed the playoffs?
No, it's Josh Allen we talking about. Elite quarterback. When we talk about the top 3 quarterbacks, who y'all naming? Y'all naming Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen.
Won't change if he misses?
No, let me tell you why. Out of all the other teams that are healthy, that are playing, the quarterbacks I'm talking about, Josh is the only one that has this type of team, right? You see how Pat's struggling. You see how all these other quarterbacks are struggling. Imagine if they played with the Bills right now. Your best cornerback, your highest paid quarterback, Tre'Davious White, out for the season. Probably your best defensive player, Matt Milano, out for the season. Michael Hyde missed tons of time. You right? Jordan Poyer missed tons of time. You think about all these different things, like how can I win when all my guys are hurt? When you build a team up, you build all your guys. Got my quarterback, got my running back, got my defensive lineman, got all these pieces, and now you don't have it. I don't know if other quarterback could have took this team to where it's at right now. Right now.
That's exactly what I just said. And that's, that is exactly what I just said. So no, that I'm actually impressed because, this show for me personally is hit or miss. I don't know about you. And so that, let's just let him continue. I just, yeah.
Now, I will say this now. There's some games where Josh were kind of crazy, kind of wild, threw some picks, threw some more picks, and then they lost. But this 3 to 4 game winning streak has been a lot of him. And I don't know if a lot of quarterbacks can come out here and win these games with this type of team they have. So I got to give him that respect and that credit for them to even have a chance to get in the playoffs with this type of roster they got. That's the truth of it.
Do you think other people are going to give Josh Allen a pass when you talk about that? Like, do you think, like, if he misses the playoffs and they're going to come back next season?
So, and that's what I want to say, too. People won't give him a pass, but that's what I'm trying to say. Let's elevate us as fans. Let's elevate us as viewers and as people who just love the game. Let's, stop with that. You know what I mean? Let's elevate ourselves. Let's be smarter. The smarter we are, the better the world, okay? So the smarter we are as fans and as viewers, the more enjoyable the game can be, honestly. That's really what I truly believe. For me, I feel very fortunate. I can enjoy a game from many different angles and directions and analysis, and that's why I love it so much, That's why I love football so much, and that's why I can jump into any game, I can also really take off my fan hat for a second and watch a Cowboys-Detroit game and just be like, this was a fun game, even though, I want the Cowboys to lose. But if the Cowboys play well and there's like Dak Prescott who, I can look at that play and look at it unbiasedly and say, okay, Dak Prescott definitely should have gotten, tackled in the end zone and should have been a safety against Detroit. But also, since he didn't get tackled, that was an amazing throw as well, which then led to a touchdown. So you can look at it both ways. The problem is if you look at things unintelligently and you're just like this crazy fan, you're just like, no, what Dak Prescott did amazing, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, recognize that should have been should have been a sack. That was more about, I don't know who the guy was from Detroit, but he just I don't know what it was. Even Troy Aikman was just like, I don't even know what I just witnessed. How did he not tackle him? And if you're just a Detroit fan, it just, again, you can just run yourself in circles in that regard. So I just always want to strive the people to be as, just look at things as intelligently as they can.
As long as you
Josh
know me,
did not
dog,
make the playoffs
one thing
because of
about
injuries.
me, I ain't worried about nobody. You just say somebody else? I know he's asking, do I care about somebody's opinion? I don't care about nobody's opinion. I don't care about that. I know what I see in football. I know what it takes to win games without your star players. It's hard to do. Your starter, your backup, that's hard to win when you don't have your guys with you. When you go to war, when these freaking coaches and GMs put these teams together, it's not just Josh Allen. Yeah, it's Josh Allen, but Stephon Diggs is the guys on defense I talked about. When they're not there, the whole game plan changes. Think about it. Look at the Dolphins, right? Good team, talented team, even on defense. But when you bring a guy like Jalen Ramsey back, you can do so much more different things. That's why, since he's been back there, the defense has been way different. It matters who you got on your team, man.
So you telling me?
I am telling you that.
And help me out because I don't want to.
You need help.
Words,
I got you.
You know,
you need help.
You'll twist some words every now and then. You telling me basically every quarterback, if your team is not healthy, gets a pass if you don't make the playoffs?
No, but when I look at this team, not every quarterback. It depends who's hurt. Maybe if your number one receiver's hurt, right, you should be good enough to still win these games. But if you got a top 5, top 6 players on your team and 4 of them losers hurt, what you want me to do? Seriously though,
I just don't know if Josh is getting a pass for that. Not me.
And again, you also have to look at divisions. I mean, you know, if the Bills were in a different division, they would be guaranteed the playoffs. It just so happens that Miami has played, you know, well enough to be where they're at right now, which then threatens the Bills. So like I just said also before, like that's why the Chiefs were given a major gift. So you're not just comparing apples to apples here. You're not even comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing apples to, you know, rocks, you know? So it's just they're not equal comparisons. So you have to really look at the context and really understand what you're looking at. The way how the playoffs are and the way how everything is constructed. The fact of the matter is that they could either, if they win, they're the 2 seed, and if they lose, they're just out of the playoffs. That says more about just how the season unfolded and the structure of the divisions and how these, you know, specific teams have played rather than about Josh Allen's ability to lead a team to the playoffs. But I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one. Please let me know in the comments below. Would you think less of Josh Allen if they didn't make the playoffs? Do you think Josh Allen should get a pass? Do you think if Josh Allen gets into the playoffs with this team, he should be celebrated? We should be like, wow, that's legit. I would love to hear what you have to say. And please, please, please do not forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here. And I truly see this channel just as much as yours as it is mine. And I think we're building something really, really special. And I want to build something that we can all really be proud to be part of. Thank you so much. And